I am both saddened and disgusted at what is going on. I finally get out today, and everything is just going crazy. I don't understand what people are thinking. In the midst of all the corona madness, Nashville was finally starting to open up a little bit, and then the incident in Minneapolis happens. A rogue police officer, which is what I'll call him, because no normal police officer would do what this man did, is responsible for a man losing his life. And like I said before, I understand why people would be upset, but this goes beyond that. People out there aren't crying for justice. What they're looking for is revenge. And it's not just happening in Minneapolis, but it's happening all over the country, and it seems in key areas of the country. Some people say that it's staged. I don't think it's staged, but one incident which I have heard of is that in these areas where this has been happening, initially in Minneapolis, is that a majority of the people that were arrested in Minneapolis for the looting and the rioting were from other areas. And I would bet that's the same in other places. Now, the mayor of Nashville today, who has been reluctant about opening things up because of the coronavirus, said that him and the city council are all going to be out there for a peaceful protest called I Can Breathe, which is kind of strange that he was calling for such a large gathering, because with corona going on, why would you do that? You putting people's health at risk because of the virus, because you're trying to make a point. Well, from what I understood, they started out peaceful, but then it got crazy like in other areas. What I do not understand is if they knew that they were going to have protests at a scheduled time today. The governor of the state should have had the National Guard out there to assist with the police officers to keep everything in check. And the moment that they saw things happening, they could have swooped in and arrested the troublemakers. I really hate to see what Nashville looks like now, because a lot of those clubs and stuff downtown, which have been around for decades, and those buildings are much older than that. I hate to see what become of them. I mean, they set fire to the courthouse. I mean, any reasonable person would know that that is not going to solve anything. I mean, there was a report from Minneapolis of a black business owner who had poured all his money into a sports bar, and now it's down the tubes because it was destroyed. They weren't just destroying white businesses, they were destroying all businesses. And when they're doing this, in the moment they think they're doing something good, but you're affecting people's livelihoods. You're destroying not just buildings, but people's way of making a living. And that's not just white people, it's white people, black people, Oriental people, Hispanic people. It's all people. And this cannot be solved by massive destruction. There was a quote I saw by Martin Luther King who said, "You cannot beat back darkness with darkness, only light." Well, right now, they're continuing to fight darkness with darkness. In the distance, I can hear rumbling. I hope it's not from downtown. I hope the governor had the sense to call in the National Guard, because I really hate to think what's going to happen down there. I have a friend in Minneapolis who says that they'd help other people clean up some of the mess which was caused. Which, of course, I'm sure the news isn't reporting. But like I said, just wanton destruction, it serves no purpose. I was debating with a young girl, yesterday on a Facebook post, and I was talking about how the destruction in Minneapolis made no point. And she was like, "Well, let them riot. Maybe now people will get the message." And of course, someone else said to me, "Well, we tried the kneeling thing and that didn't work." Well, there's a reason why it didn't work. Because all they did was kneel. And the way they were doing it, which, while some people do not agree with it, the way we were doing it was disrespectful for our country and the people who served under it. But not one person went to the news and said, "Well, this is why we're doing it, and we need no disrespect. We know it's not all police officers who are doing this, but we're trying to get a point across about the ones who do." And I mentioned several times on Facebook posts that, seeing how the NFL had all these players who were kneeling, I said, the NFL need to take a stand. They would be the perfect bridge to help forge something between the local communities and local government and law enforcement. They need to have that communication between them. I mean, you can have all these people who say, "Oh yeah, well, we're going to have more training for the police." Well, that's not going to do any good if the ones in question are idiots. Because that's basically what these people are. These officers who go rogue, as I say, they're idiots. Majority of police officers, they go out there and they serve and protect, which is their motto. and nothing, just destruction. I do not understand how they think it's going to solve anything. They need to have that communication between the communities and, like I said, government and law enforcement. I know nowadays the police department has this program called DARE, which is about helping educate young children about drugs. Well, I remember when I was growing up, they had this program. It was called Officer Friendly. I mean, letting kids know that the police, they're your friend. They're there to help you. And I think too many neighborhoods nowadays, they don't see it that way. They teach their children to fear the police, not to trust the police. And then when something happens and they call the police, they blame the police because that's just how they were brought up. We need to go back to the officer-friendly type of thing to educate our kids about the police and what they're there for. At the same time, you can educate the police on better ways to help them effectively serve their communities. It's all about the communication, which somehow is missing. I mean, we all sit back and it's real easy for us to judge the police and how they do their jobs, but they have a very dangerous job. Especially nowadays, with nights like tonight, in the past couple of nights. They're trying to keep the peace, and people are just going crazy. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're living in some very dark times. And I think we're leading up to times when our Lord Jesus Christ comes back. I mean, look what's going on in the world even before this madness and the corona madness. As time goes by, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. I think what we need is some serious revival. Not just for the white churches and the black churches, but for all God's children. We need to seriously step it up. And put His word out there. As for all this, like I said, with the communities, you need to bridge that gap. You need to have communication. I know I kind of ramble here and there about different things, but this is really important. And whether you agree or not, that's your own thing, but this is how I see it. And I pray to God we get through this.